Good evening. The Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Wednesday, June 10th, 2020 is called to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the secretary please note the roll?
Commissioner Ellison is absent. Commissioner Clymer?
Here.
Commissioner Kish is absent. Commissioner Steiner?
Here.
Commissioner Maloney?
Here.
Vice Chairman Barnes?
Here.
Chairman Bray?
Here.
We have a quorum this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. With that, can I get a motion to exclude both Commissioner Ellison and Commissioner Kish from this evening's meeting?
I move to exclude as noted.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Barnes, seconded by Commissioner Steiner to excuse Commissioner Kish and Commissioner Ellison from tonight's meeting. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, on to minutes. Item number 1 is to approve the draft minutes of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting held on May 20th, 2020. And that was via Microsoft Share. So is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the minutes from the May 20th, 2020 meeting.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Steiner, seconded by Commissioner Barnes to approve the minutes from May 20th, 2020. Is there any discussion?
No.
Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Public comments. Now is the time for citizens who would like to address the Planning and Zoning Commission on any non-agenda items. Any speaker cards?
No, Chairman.
Anybody? Perfect. Disclosure of ex parte communication. This is an opportunity for commission members to disclose any ex parte communication they may have had prior to this meeting on any agenda item. Anything to disclose? Seeing none, moving into business. Agenda item number 2 is the preliminary plat for the curve at Estrella Commons. And with that, Steve, good to see you in person.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner members, same here. I do have a presentation for you tonight. It is for a preliminary plat curve at Estrella Commons. And the location of the property here at I-10 Estrella Parkway. We're on the east side of Estrella Parkway, about 7.6 acre piece right here. Surrounding this area, we have the Fulton Home development coming in here in the east. We have a new multifamily development here in the south. Just to the west of this property, we have a proposed Aldi and Starbucks going in right here. And then to the north, Estrella Commons PAD, it's a mixed-use piece currently undeveloped right now. And the zoning was approved, its final PAD zoning. Commission and Council, we saw this back in April, so that zoning was just approved here recently. And that zoning was to change it from PAD to a new PAD, and that was intended for a development of court homes. And so the application tonight is preliminary plat. It's to subdivide that 7.6 acres into 64 lots, 9 tracts. Again, is for single-family detached court homes. This community is proposed as a rental community. It'll have private streets with common driveways. You have about an acre of open space, and you'll have a common amenity feature within this development. You also have several visitor parking spaces provided throughout the community, and I'll show some of that with the next slide. This is the landscape plan, but it's a good exhibit to show kind of what is going on with this development. Again, we'll have entry off of Roosevelt here coming in, private loop street running through the development. We'll have the 64 court home pods wrapped around a private street. And again, you have a common driveway with this court home design. This is a typical one here where you'll have these 5 homes accessing off of this common driveway, then it'll then access the private street. Community at this time is proposed to be gated, so you have the one entrance here. We'll also have a second entrance here to Roosevelt, but this will be for emergency access only. And here in the center, kind of at the entry to the development, you have that common open space amenity. You'll have a mix of passive and active recreation, including you'll have a tot lot, some barbecue, and some open lawn areas here. And the next 2 slides are just the preliminary plat that was submitted to the city for review. Again, same concept, loop street, court home pods accessing the loop street. And again, this is just the subdivision showing you how everything will be proposed with this development. After reviewing the subdivision plat, we do find it consistent with the PAD for Estrella Commons, for the curve at Estrella Commons. We do find it consistent with our subdivision regulations. We are recommending approval subject to the 8 stipulations in the staff report. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my presentation. The applicant is here, and he also has a presentation for the commission.
Thank you, Steve. Is there any questions for Steve at this time? Yes,
I do.
Commissioner Maloney.
Steve, can you go back to that first slide? Where is the, if a person has guests, where do they park? They have shared driveways.
Commission members, we have a couple spots for visitor spots. There's one here, there's some here. Also, with the width of this street, it does allow parking on one side, so you can have parking along one side of the street. You also have some of the homes, a few of them have access directly to the street. There's a handful. Those have visitor spots within the driveway.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Steve at this time?
Yeah, Steve, from my understanding from the April meeting, up in the northwest corner, there is a turnaround that will be shared, I believe, with the Aldi trucks. Is there going to be an issue with noise on that turnaround? I don't know if the trucks are going to come in the evening. Maybe people are sleeping.
Mr. Chairman, Commission members, that was not part of this request, so it's not something that we evaluated in terms of the subdivision. It is a shared mixed-use area, so we do anticipate there will be noise. So that's not something that we are avoiding. We do know that we are adjacent to commercial, so we do have noise. There will be the 6-foot block wall here and an intervening parking space, but you are right. To make a left turn out, you do need to come through this area here. Being in a smaller grocery store, we didn't necessarily see it as the same kind of intensity as like a Walmart supercenter.
Right.
It does have a
Right.
smaller footprint, smaller type of intensity. So in that regard, we did not see any red flags in terms of looking at the traffic report or separation of uses. Again, we did have the block wall and a setback where Aldi is further closer to Estrella Parkway than this development.
Is that a block wall on the north side of right there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool, good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for staff? Perfect. Does the applicant wish to address the commission? Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Just one moment, if you don't mind. I'm going to, I believe the PowerPoint that I have is somewhere near. There we go.
Perfect, thank you. My name is Jason Sanks. I'm a land use planner with SEG Engineering Group. I'm here on behalf of Curve Development. Our address is 8280 East Gelding in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's good to see everybody in person. Last time I saw the commission, it was through Teams meeting. It worked out quite well, I thought. So the PowerPoint I have prepared for you this evening is similar to the one you saw during the zoning case. It's been updated to reflect the preliminary plat. There's only been a couple of minor updates that I can present to you tonight since the last time you saw it, and I went through my presentation, and I'll go through those here in just a moment. As a kind of start from the beginning, this project is proposed to be a rental community. What's unique about it being a rental community compared to some of the other ones that are more prevalent in the rental home market space right now is that these are actually single-family homes, and they're on individually platted single-family lots rather than detached like cottage-style units you may have seen elsewhere that are on a large parcel. These are all individually platted. And kind of go through site context again, as Steve's already done this. It's located just south of Roosevelt Street, east of Estrella Parkway, behind the Aldi. That's under construction. Glad to hear there's going to be a Starbucks there. Some site context here. Oop, it's going a little on its own here. Give me a second if I can get back. There we go. I don't know what's going on. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to press this once. Hopefully it stays. Okay, great. So the aerial here is fairly recent. It'll show you the Acero apartments. I think there's just over 300 of them, 324 apartments to the south. They're 3 stories. Fulton Homes, single-family home subdivision to the east. Aldi under construction with Starbucks to the west. And future mixed use proposed to the north. We anticipate it would be something of decent intensity considering its proximity to the I-10 and the interchange and its current zoning. So the property takes primary access off of Roosevelt Street, as you can see right here. And based on a purchase, kind of like a purchase restriction, the master developer for this project had given access for Aldi so that Aldi could enjoy a truck exit from their store, which they would come in and then be able to have full motion here, because you see there's a raised median here. And so for them to have full motion access and come in and out from the I-10, they would on occasion need to use that. Now, while we also recognize it's not opportune for us, it's just something that we're kind of handed to with the property. That condition existed prior to our intended purchase. And so we've accommodated that here. Through the final platting process, we will be providing the easement recording documentation that shows this drive actually legally described and committed to the purpose of Aldi having full motion. One point it does do for us, though, is it actually sets the neighborhood back off of Roosevelt Street, so it's kind of tucked into this little enclave where it will have gated access so that vehicular traffic will be, for the most part, restricted to the residents and their guests. We do have, this shows what the entry would look like in a street view. One unique nature about this project compared to typical subdivisions is that because of its auto court concept, we've been able to predetermine basically every home that's going on every lot already. So we can promise roofline diversity for any of the homes backing to Roosevelt Street. Because of the lot sizes and configurations, we have 1- and 2-story homes and different types of roof lines that will be visible from Roosevelt Street. So you won't have the kind of monopoly house concept of the same exact home lined up as you may see with some communities elsewhere. So that's going to be a nice feature. Plus, we were able to pre-plot both homes on either side of the entry to be single level. So neither side of the primary entry will have a 2-story home walling it in. So it'll have kind of a softer appearance. Furthermore, we designed the community when you enter the community through the main gates. The first thing that you're going to see is the centralized open space where we have a barbecue amenity area. We have the tot lot. We have actually a pet lawn, and there's a pet seating area and waste station so that people can walk over there, sit down, and allow their dogs to run around in the tot lot, or not the tot lot, the pet lot together. We have all of our homes are 3 bedrooms, but since I last saw you, we've developed a 4th bedroom plan. So 2 of our 7 plans will have 4 bedrooms. So the homes in here will have 3 and 4 bedrooms for those that might have extra children. All right, just a technical drawing. The intention here is to show you that the preliminary plat is in substantial conformance, if not nearly identical, to the development plan that you saw in April that's tied to the zoning case. There has been really no changes, with the exception of the addition of the tot lot. I believe it was either P&Z or council really wanted to see a tot lot, so we added that in into the play area in the middle. We have 2-car garages for every home. So every home in the neighborhood each has an integrated 2-car garage, kind of like a standard home would have. And in many locations, aside from the guest parking that was outlined by staff and the street parking, we have several homes that have standard driveways for 2 cars to park in. And then several locations within each of the modules actually have 2 additional spaces. So one home would have 4 spaces, not just the 2 in their garage. Now, not all of those homes have that 20-foot driveway in front of them, so their guests would have to utilize the guest parking shown elsewhere in the development. But a lot of the modular homes actually have. You can see if you look up here, see these little nooks in here. These all have 2-car garages plus 2-car driveways in front of them. So we have a lot of guest parking. The entire community is going to be professionally managed. So as we're going through the design review process right now for the homes themselves, and as part of that, we're required to show how we're going to landscape the front yards. Like in a standard lot subdivision, we would say here are the front yard landscaping packages that will be offered by the builder. But in this case, the builder is going to install all of the front yards in a contiguous master landscape option and also maintain it. So there'll be contiguous landscaping throughout. And that's part of our residential design review package that's been submitted. And it's present on the landscape plans that Steve showed you. This is just myself reiterating our conformance with the final PAD zoning that we received from council in end of April. And this is where you can see a little bit more shading. Where you can see the homes configured in the park space. The development standards are on the right. Those are exact from the ordinance that was adopted. Coming back just to give you some additional details as you kind of try to familiarize yourself with what this will look like when it's built. This just shows you kind of like this modern farmhouse appearance that curved development really loves. And so most of the homes in here are going to have very fresh appearance. We've got 7 color palettes on the homes, lots of architectural detailing, a predominance more of siding. But you see a little bit less here is that kind of tan Spanish stone look and a little bit fresher look that is the preference of curve. And the other thing you'll see is the marketing name for the project has been selected. It's called Serene at Estrella Commons now. So the project name that's been through this process is Curve at Estrella Commons, but when you see the sign eventually go up on the monument sign out front, it'll be called Serene. This just blows up a little bit more of the park spaces, the dog pet station. We were asked to show some of the landscape details that are occurring out on Roosevelt Street. As an FYI, we did receive a request to see about, I think, perhaps trying to provide additional Roosevelt Street right-of-way that's still in flux right now. But I don't believe that that's going to be proposed for this development, as it would have an impact on the entire neighborhood design. I'd be happy to answer any questions on the open space design. We've provided everything that's been asked of us, and we're excited to see the project develop. This just shows you a bit more how the modules work. Again, coming back to the parking issue, you can see for these homes that are tucked back here, because these garages are oriented more so towards the center of the cluster, this leaves a 2-car driveway in front of a 2-car garage on this side. It also provides a 2-car driveway in front of that home. And these homes, rather than put the garages orientating to the street, so you don't have a series of garage doors, there's always kind of a planning principle is to try to reduce dominance of the garage on the streetscape, see something, the softer side of the home, the livable space forward on the home, porches forward on the home. This whole plan has been designed to put those edges and those features along the private street and the more utilitarian aspect of the home, such as the garage, into the court area. So that's been done throughout, where all of the modules are wrapped in that way. This kind of gives you a perspective view for the handful of lots that have direct access to the private local street. This is how those garages would look. This looks very similar to a standard lot home. You can see a smaller porch here. You can see livable space forward, second floor space set back, garage set back from the front plane of the home as usually desired. There's only about 7 of those homes in this community out of the 64 lots. And then if you come into the courtyard or the motor court, this is where you see the place. It's stretched a little bit, but this is the two-car garage, the two-car driveway. This is the two-car driveway. But we still softened up the elevations of these homes, so it doesn't feel like an ugly space when you pull into the courtyard. They still have front porches. We still have livable space set back and carriage doors, gooseneck lighting, and siding on all of these homes. I wouldn't say manipulating sounds like a bad word, but we've specified that the enhanced materials have been placed carefully on the elevations of these home plans that are in the module so that they wrap the interior of the module and we don't have, for example, siding materials on portions of the home that aren't visible, that are stuck between houses, for example, and those sorts of things. So the inside of the module will be quite nice. This is an illustration of both the module and the front loading traditional lot homes this community has both. And this shows you where the cars would park if you were to have guests. So again, not everybody has a driveway in addition to their integrated two-car garage, but a lot of the homes do. And the streets have been designed wide enough to accommodate on-street parking.
Mr. Chairman, if I can interrupt, we normally allot the applicant 10 minutes, and the time is just about up. We got about 30 more seconds.
Thank you.
It's my last slide. Perfect. Oh, thank you. I'd be happy to answer questions.
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you. Any last questions for Steve? All right, with that, I will entertain a motion on the preliminary plat for Curve at Estrella Commons.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve 19-500-00017 with the 8 stipulations.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Clymer, seconded by Commissioner Steiner to approve the preliminary plat for Curve at Estrella Commons with the staff recommendations. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right. Thank you for coming out. Appreciate it. Staff communication.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, we held 2 meetings in May. At our regular meeting on May the 6th, you all recommended to council the approval of Phase 2 of Pebble Creek, Unit 59, and the council did approve that in their meeting at the end of May prior to Memorial Day. And then also, if you remember, we had a special meeting on May 22nd to consider 2 cases, the rezoning of Goodyear 82 and also the rezoning of Centerscape. The Goodyear 82 case went to council just this past Monday on June 8th and was approved. The Centerscape project got delayed. We're still negotiating with the applicant and the owner regarding a sewer easement and the exact language of that stipulation. So we're hoping that it's going to be moving forward to council for council consideration at the end of June. And that's what I have currently. Thank you.
Perfect. Seems like maybe next time it would just be interesting to see, kind of where we're at with applications and that kind. If we're seeing an uptick, I just noticed that seems to be a lot going on, which is a good thing, but it would be kind of nice just to see numbers when you get an opportunity.
Sure, I'll be happy to do that. No problem.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions for staff from the commissioners? Perfect. The next Planning and Zoning Commission meeting will be held on July 1st, 2020 at 6 p.m. at the Goodyear Municipal Court and Council Chambers. With that, being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.